What is masculine energy and what is feminine energy, and how does it show up at work? Hi, I'm Megan Akatsu. I am a feminine leadership coach, and I help high achieving women move away from pushing and proving to define success on their terms. So, what is masculine energy anyway? Masculine energy tends to show up as more logical, direct, structured, action oriented, and stable. And then female energy tends to show up as more intuitive, patient, creative, collaborative, and receptive. Masculine and female energies are not specific to genders. Think about the yin and yang symbol. I'm a child of the 90s, so you might remember this from growing up. And there was always a little bit of the white dot within the black space, and then there's the black dot within the white space. And if you notice, there's not a straight line between the two energies, right? They are meant to flow back and forth between the different sides. So for instance, most men do exhibit more masculine energy and most women do exhibit more feminine energy, but that's not always the case. And we have different levels for what is natural for us. So the yang, being the more masculine energy, always has a little bit of the feminine energy in it. And just the opposite, the yin, the more feminine energy, always has a little bit of the masculine energy in it. And then we flow between both sides. Masculine energy in the workplace might look more like clarity and action. And so you might receive questions, let's say, okay, here's the timeline, here's the agenda, what is next that we need to do? Or here's the problem, here's the solution, I propose we move forward with this. That might be the tone that you hear in a particular meeting. Feminine energy is more intuitive and more sensing. And so how that shows up at work is it might even be a very powerful question instead of pushing for a particular solution. It might be something as simple as, hey, have we thought about the effect on the operations team? And that might just be enough to interrupt what the general tone of the meeting is going. And someone might say to you, like, oh my gosh, thank you so much for saying that. I hadn't even thought about that. And so you hadn't even said a specific solution, but it might just be enough to interrupt the action-oriented pattern that was happening in that meeting. Another thing where feminine energy might show up in a meeting is as you're sensing into when to speak up and when to listen, when to push more for a specific solution, when to offer a question, and because you are reading the energy within the room. Earlier, I had mentioned how it is natural for all of us to move in between these multiple energies, and we aren't really meant to be in one or the other all of the time. And that we all need a mix of what the more structured masculine energy is and the more creative flow of the feminine energy. And they are meant to move together. So for instance, one of my clients really was looking to have more space in the morning to connect with her colleagues and her team. And so one thing that she did was she actually physically started to go to bed earlier, to arrive at work earlier. So here's the structure, so that she had 30 minutes by herself in the morning to catch up on emails, do any sort of quick work that she wanted to do, so that then when the rest of the team arrived, she could be more in that natural flow of like, hi, good morning, how are you? How's your day looking? What do you have going on? Is there anything I can help you with? And so that she needed the structure of physically arriving at work earlier to be in the flow where she could really connect and work through those different collaborations. So why does this matter at work? Well, in Western society, most of our organizations are built on more masculine energy. And so it gets very easy for people who lean into feminine energy to be all logic, all structure, more direct all the time. And that can feel like burnout when we don't have a chance to move in between both sides. So if you're someone where you know that your feminine energy is more your strength of using your intuition, using your creativity, using your inner wisdom, when you are only on that logical side, you can get very tired, you can get burnt out. And then we're also then closing off these sides of you, the more intuitive side, that helps you to navigate these meetings, to help you to make better decisions, to help you to offer creative solutions. And so we shut down that side of us when we overuse the logical side. And so again, we need to structure our day so that we have time to be on both sides. So a colleague might say, the budget looks aligned. It's time for us to move forward. And if you are stronger on the feminine energy and you're using more of that receptor energy, you're looking at, oh, okay, well, I see actually, or I'm sensing that these two colleagues have not come into an agreement on how we're going to move forward. So it might be as simple as, hi, I understand that colleague A and colleague B, it really feels like there's still some tension here. So really naming what has happened in the room. And do we have time to discuss this now before we move forward, or do we need a specific meeting to discuss this? And so again, you're using that receptive energy because you're picking up on what else is going on in the room, then to refocus it back out into the room so that you can still make the best decision for the organization. My teacher always talks about masculine and feminine energy as a lion and the lionesses. So the male lion's job is to mark the territory and to hold that safe perimeter for the rest of the pride to live and thrive within that environment. It is the female lionesses who actually do the hunting that feed the rest of the pride. And so the women go out, the female lions go out, and they use their own creativity, they use the patience, they use sensing in order to hunt. The male lion is not telling them how to do it. It is simply maintaining that outer safety ring, that outer perimeter that marks their territory. And so there are two different powers. One is not better than the other. One is not stronger than the other, but certainly that the male lion and the female lions understand their role, and they're not trying to do the other person's role. So that is where the balance of power comes in, of allowing the male lions to do their job and allowing the female lions to use their inner wisdom in order to serve the rest of the pride. So without any judgment, I invite you today to just look at your day and how much of your time is spent more in flow or more in creative energy, and just take note of it, of where it currently is and where you suspect that you would thrive the best. I hope to see you again soon. Bye-bye.